The September issue of Down East Magazine is now out, and this is always a fun issue because it is the best of Maine. With us here to talk about that article and more, Editor-in-Chief Will Grunwald. Thank you for coming in, Will. Pleasure to have you here, as always.
Thanks for having me.
We're going to get to the best of Maine in just a moment, but let's talk about some other stuff first. An article on the Appalachian Mountain Club's 100-mile wilderness roads, and this is not a hiking story.
Yeah, right, exactly. Yeah, so the Appalachian Mountain Club has been spending a lot of time in like the 100-mile wilderness area, improving recreational assets, adding a lot of trails. Most people think about hiking up there, but they've also been emphasizing using old logging roads for gravel biking, which is like a great sort of mellow version of mountain biking that's more accessible to more people. And you get to, enjoy a really spectacular part of the state.
It's kind of a nice thing because it gets people into places where they probably wouldn't go otherwise, and yet they can do it in a more accessible kind of way. So
oh, definitely. And you can also connect it, lodge to lodge and everything. You can make multi-day trips out of it. It's a really cool thing.
I found it very interesting. It's something I hadn't known much about. There is a profile in this issue of Christy Gardner, who is a really extraordinary Mainer. Tell us a little about her and why you wanted to write about her.
Yeah, definitely. So, so Christy is she does a lot. So she's she's an Army veteran and double amputee. She's a para-athlete. She competes in both throwing events and sled hockey for the U.S. national team, and has competed internationally in track and field.
And every time I've ever seen Christy, she's with her dogs, and the dogs are a story on their own too.
Absolutely. So the other thing that keeps her very busy is that she trains service dogs through a nonprofit that she started based out in Oxford. Between her athletic achievements, she also started Maine's only sled hockey team in Lewiston. She is just, one of those people who has such an outsized impact.
She is a dynamo. Let's talk about Best of Maine. What in general, I know that you tweak this a little bit from year to year. What were you trying to do this year that was maybe a little bit different?
Yeah, so every year it's our reader poll, and our readers get to shout out their favorite places and vote on, winners and runners up, and it's everything from, breweries to food trucks to florists. It's pretty wide ranging. This year what we did was just took our reader selections and shouted out a few places of note along the way that we thought had some additional sort of editorial interest.
We're going to hit on just two of them. There are a lot of different places and things that are mentioned in here, but just two that we'll touch on. Freedom's Edge Cider in Albion.
Yeah, so Freedom's Edge, I would guess that most people have probably seen it around at the very least if they haven't tried it. Cider has sort of been this like other category of drink that has a lot of promise but never quite seems to go big, and largely it's like hard to scale up orchards. They take a long time to mature. Freedom's Edge seems to have sort of cracked the code. They are like ubiquitous around Maine. Their flagship cider is like very consistent and very good, and they're also dabbling in some smaller batch stuff. They've really, it's understandable that they would wind up on our reader list.
The Best of issue always gives ideas for getaways in Maine. One that's intriguing is called Nurture Through Nature, and it's in the town of Denmark.
Yeah, that's right. So Nurture Through Nature, it's an eco-retreat in the western Maine hills, and it was one of our reader favorite sauna picks. I think sauna, it has a long history in Maine thanks to Nordic immigration, and has seemed sort of resurgent lately with a lot more interest and mobile saunas popping up and all of that sort of thing. But Nurture Through Nature is a traditional wood-fired sauna, has a mountain stream outside that you can take your cold plunges in. It's a pretty idyllic spot.
Sounds pretty good. As I said, all kinds of neat ideas, places to eat, places to stay, things to do, places to shop. It's all in the September issue of Down East. Will, thanks for coming in.
Yeah, thanks, Rob.
As always, stick around. We're going to be back with more of 207 right after this.